let's take a look and see how you're doing with these. So for the first one, we have 96 inches. We're going to make that 96 inches over 1. We're turning it into feet. So we'll put inches on bottom so they cancel out, going into feet. And we know 1 foot is 12 inches. The inches cancel out. We have 96 times 1 foot is 96 feet. On bottom, 1 times 12 is 12. 96 feet divided by 12 is 8 feet. Number 2. We have our 3 square feet. We're going to put them over 1. And we're going to convert that into square inches. So square feet are going to go on bottom so they cancel out, going into square inches. Now here's where we have to be careful with our conversion factor. 1 square foot is not 12 square inches. It's square feet and square inches. 1 square foot is 12 squared, or 144 square inches. So now the square feet cancel out. 3 times 144 is 432 square inches. And on bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. So that's just 432 square inches. 13,824 cubic inches. We'll put that over 1. Now in our conversion factor, cubic inches will go on bottom, and we're changing it to cubic feet. 1 cubic foot now is 12 cubed, or 1,728 cubic inches. So the cubic inches cancel out. 13,824 times 1 cubic foot is 13,824 cubic feet. 1 times 1728 is 1728. We divide that out. 13,824 cubic feet divided by 1,728 is 8 cubic feet. The biggest thing here is make sure you are aware of the units. Read them carefully. Do not just see the feet in inches and multiply or divide by 12. Square feet, square inches, cubic feet, cubic inches makes a difference. It changes the conversion factor. It's not just 1 to 12 anymore. If it's square inches and square feet, it's 1 square foot is 144 square inches. Or cubic feet and cubic inches, it's 1 cubic foot is 1,728 cubic inches. Be aware of the squared and the cubed on our units. It changes the results. The same is true for our metric units down here. We have meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters on our chart. Going the other way, of course, we'd have decameters, hectometers, kilometers. Going from centimeters to meters is 2 spots to the left. So we move our decimal point 2 spots to the left. There's no decimal there, so it's at the end of the number. We move it 2 spots to the left. 21,000 centimeters is 210 meters. However, in this next example, it's centimeters squared to meters squared. Well, centimeters to meters is still 2 spots to the left on our chart, but now every spot on the chart is multiplying or dividing by 100. So it's 2 decimal places because it's squared units. So 2 spots on the chart becomes 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. 21,000 centimeters squared is 2.1 meters squared. And then here, this is centimeters cubed to the 3rd power, to meters cubed. Again, that changes our conversion factor. Every spot on the chart is no longer multiplying or dividing by 10. It's 10 cubed, or 1,000, which means every spot on the chart is 3 decimal places. So 2 spots on the chart becomes 6 decimal places. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we fill in that 0. That's 0.021 meters cubed. Again, even with the metric units, you have to be very aware of the units itself. Is it just centimeters, or is it centimeters squared or centimeters cubed? Make sure you pay close attention to that. Most of the problems people get wrong on this test that's coming up next Tuesday are because they don't pay attention to the units like that. Well, I'm going to have you guys try a few more here in your notes. Let's do got what number I'll start with. It'll be number 7 here. 567. This should be cubic feet, not cubic yards. Cubic feet going into cubic yards. Let's do 5 square yards into square feet. I'll put the rest up here if you guys get started in your notes, and we'll go over these in just a few minutes. Okay, let's take a peek here for the first one. 567 cubic feet. Put that over 1. Getting rid of the cubic feet, so we'll put it on bottom, going into cubic yards. Now 1 yard is 3 feet, but 1 cubic yard is 3 cubed. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27 cubic feet. So that cancels out. 57 times 1 cubic yard is 567 cubic yards. over 1 times 27 is 27. 567 cubic yards divided by 27 is 21 cubic yards. Over here we have 5 square yards. 5 yards squared, we'll put it over 1. Converting into square feet. So we put the square yards on bottom so they'll cancel. Going to square feet. 1 square yard is 3 squared or 9 square feet. So the square yards cancel out. 5 times 9 square feet is 45 square feet. On bottom, 1 times 1 is 1, so that is just 45 square feet. Centimeters squared to millimeters squared is centimeters to millimeters is one spot to the right on our chart in the metric chart. But being squared, every spot on the chart is 2 decimal places. So I've moved that decimal point 2 spots. That is 310 millimeters squared. Then we make a little bit of a switch over here for a moment into our mass and weight units. We have 2.5 pounds going into ounces. With that 2.5 pounds over 1. Pounds would go on bottom so they cancel out. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So our pounds cancel out. 2.5 times 16 is 40 ounces. 1 times 1 is 1, so that is just 40 ounces. 700 grams into kilograms. Well, sketch out our chart here. From grams to kilograms is 3 spots to the left. Our decimal point, there isn't one there, so it's at the end of the number. It has to go 3 spots to the left. That is 0.7 kilograms. So here's one we don't do very often, but 3 acres going into square feet. I'm going to take my 3 acres over 1 again. And my conversion here, I'm going to put acres on bottom, square feet on top. 1 acre is 43,560 square feet. Remember that acre actually comes from the square chains. A chain is 66 feet. 1 square chain is 4,356 square feet. An acre is 10 square chains. So the acres cancel out. We have 3 times 43,560 square feet is 130,680 square feet. On bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. So that is just 130,680 square feet of land. Now we'll do another set of problems here for you. I would convert 64 cups into gallons. .32 liters into milliliters. And I'll fill these in as you get started. So if we start out with 64 cups going into gallons, we'll put our 64 cups over 1. Get rid of the cups. We'll put them on bottom, but we can't go straight to gallons. We go from cups to pints. 1 pint is 2 cups. Now we'll get rid of the pints. We'll put pints on bottom. Going into quarts. 1 quart is 2 pints. Then we'll put our quarts on bottom. We can go from quarts to gallons. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So now on top we have 64 times 1 times 1 times 1 gallon. That's 64 gallons. On bottom, 1 times 2 times 4 is 16. 64 gallons divided by 16 is 4 gallons. Number 4, 0.32 liters going to milliliters. Again, if we look at our chart, from liters to milliliters is 3 spots to the right. So I move my decimal 3 spots to the right, filling in that missing 0. 0.32 liters is 320 milliliters. Going from fluid ounces into tablespoons. 5 fluid ounces. Put it over 1. Fluid ounces on bottom here into tablespoons. 1 fluid ounce is actually 2 tablespoons. Fluid ounces cancel out. 5 times 2 is 10 tablespoons. 1 times 1 is 1. So 5 fluid ounces is just 10 tablespoons. 8 gallons into liters. Put our 8 gallons over 1. Put gallons on bottom. Liters on top. 1 gallon is 3.785 liters. So our gallons cancel out. 8 times 3.785 is 30.28 liters. 1 times 1 is 1. So 8 gallons is 30.28 liters. 4 gallons going into cubic inches. I'll put 4 gallons over 1. I'll put gallons on bottom so they cancel out. 1 gallon is 231 cubic inches, approximately. This one is not exact. The gallons cancel out. 4 times 231 is 924 cubic inches. I'm going to double check that one. It's early in the morning. It is 924. Over 1 times 1 is 1. So 4 gallon is 924 cubic inches. And finally, we're going to take our gallons into cubic feet. So we're going to start out with 150 gallons. Put it over 1 again. We'll put gallons on bottom, cubic feet on top. 1 cubic foot is 7.5 gallons. So the gallons cancel out. 150 times 1 cubic foot is 150 cubic feet. 1 times 7.5 is 7.5. 150 cubic feet divided by 7.5 is 20 cubic feet. So 150 gallons is 20 cubic feet. So I want to take a look at now metric to standard conversions. So let's start out with something like, we'll go 12 feet into meters. And we'll do centimeters into inches. And I'll finish filling these in as you guys get started. We'll go over them in just a couple minutes. So let's take a peek here. We have 12 feet. Put that over 1 going into meters. If we look it up, there's 3.28 feet in 1 meter. So the feet cancel out. That's going to be 12 times 1 meter is 12 meters. 1 times 3.28 is 3.28. So 12 meters divided by 3.28 gives us 3.66 meters from 12 feet. 45 centimeters going into inches. So put 45 centimeters over 1. This is the one conversion that I have memorized all the time. 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. Our centimeters cancel out. 45 times 1 inch is 45 inches. 1 times 2.54 is 2.54. 45 divided by 2.54. 17.72 inches. 187 pounds going into kilograms. Put 187 pounds over 1. Put pounds on bottom, kilograms on top. We know 1 kilogram is about 2.2 pounds. Pounds cancel out. 187 times 1 kilogram. 187 kilograms over 1 times 2.2 is 2.2. 187 divided by 2.2 is 85. 187 pounds is 85 kilograms. Moving down here now. 400 milligrams into ounces. We could look up that conversion, but I don't have that one memorized. I don't have it on the top of my head. But we can go from milligrams to kilograms. 1 milligram, I guess I didn't even need to put it over 1 quite yet, is 0.4 kilograms. Then we can go from kilograms to pounds. I'll put that over 1. Kilograms on bottom, 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. 0.4 times 2.2 is 0.88 pounds. Now I have to convert those pounds into ounces. 0.88 pounds over 1. Pounds on bottom, ounces on top. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So 0.88 times 16 is 14.08 ounces. Technically, I believe it's like 28.4, 28.39 grams per ounce. You see that same conversion, 14.08. 200 milliliters going into cups. Well, once again, I don't have the conversion from milliliters to cups memorized. So I'm going to go from 200 milliliters to 0.2 liters. And then from my 0.2 liters, put my 0.2 liters over 1. I'm going to go from liters to gallons. 1 gallon is 3.785 liters. My liters cancel out. Then I'm going to go from gallons, quarts. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. From quarts, pints. 1 quart is 2 pints. The quarts cancel out. And finally, we'll go from pints to cups. 1 pint is 2 cups, so my pints cancel out. So on top here, I have 0.2 times 1 times 4 is 0.8, times 2 is 1.6, times another 2 is 3.2 cups. Over on bottom here, I have 3.875 times 1, so it's just 3.785, I should say. 3.785, so it's just 3.2 divided by 3.785 gives us 0.85 cups. Next, 68 millimeters into inches. Well, again, I'm going to start out by just turning 68 millimeters into 6.8 centimeters. From there, I can convert the centimeters into inches. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So 6.8 times 1 inch is 6.8 inches. 1 times 2.54 is 2.54. So this is 6.8 divided by 2.54. We get 2.68 inches. Okay, so we've done all those measurement conversions. We need to do measurement operations as well, but before I do that, the part I want to make sure I review is our powers of 10 in scientific notation. So first of all, things like 10 to the 6th times 10 to the 11th, 10 to the 18th divided by 10 to the 5th, or 10 to the 4th, the power of 7. I would start working on those. I'm going to put a few more up here. These should go pretty fast, so I'm not going to give you a lot of time here. Combining 10 to the 6th times 10 to the 11th. Now remember, when we have exponents with the same base, both of these have a base of 10. In fact, all these exponents here have a base of 10. We have exponents with the same base. When we multiply, we can simply add the powers. So 10 to the 6th times 10 to the 11th. 6 plus 11 is 17, so that's just 10 to the 17th. Again, when we have exponents with the same base, when we divide, we subtract the powers. So 10 to the 18th divided by 10 to the 5th. 18 divided by 5 is 13. That's 10 to the 13th. When I have a power like this, we multiply the two powers. So 10 to the 4th to the power of 7. 4 times 7 is 28. That's just 10 to the 28th. Next, these last three, I ask you to convert those to scientific notation. Remember, we find the first non-zero digit, and we put the decimal point after that, so it becomes 8.3. The decimal point moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. That's times 10. It's going to be a 5, but this is a really small number. It's smaller than 1. So that means that's a negative power on my power of 10. These are the negative power of 10 place values in the decimal places. So this one here, the 4 is our first non-zero digit, so I'll put the decimal point after that. So that'll be 4.9. Decimal point has to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. That is a large number, 49 million, so it's a positive power of 10 place value. That is 10 to the positive 7. Number 30 here, this negative out front does not affect anything else. I'm just going to leave the negative there. 5 is my first non-zero digit, so I put the decimal after it, so it's negative 5.9. The decimal point had to move 1, 2, 3 spots, and this was a small number. It was less than 1. That's in the negative power of 10 place values. That's a negative 3. I might ask you to convert to decimal notation. Decimal notation is just our standard numbers. So let's take a look. I'll have you convert each of these. 5.1 times 10 to the 8th. 2.9 times 10 to the negative 6th. Negative 7.4 times 10 to the 5th. We'll go over those in just a second. So again, these should go pretty quickly, so we're going to jump right in. Start with my 5.1. The 10 to the 8 means I have to move the decimal point 8 spots. It's a positive 8, so it makes the number bigger. So I make this number bigger by 8 decimal places. So I go 1, 2, so I have to add a 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 510 million. Here I start with the 2.9. The 10 to the 6 says I have to move the decimal point 6 spots. The negative means this is smaller. It becomes smaller. So I go 1, add zeros, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put in my decimal point. This point 0.000029. Now the negative does not affect anything up front there. So I start out with my negative 7.4. 10 to the 5th means I have to move the decimal point 5 spots. It's a positive 5. So this gets larger. So I go 1 and I fill in my zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a negative 740,000. So notice this negative up front does not affect the power of 10 at all. Well, the last thing we're going to get around to reviewing today is going to be our operation with these decimals, or with these scientific notation. So I want you to try these 4. (2.6 times 10 to the 7th) plus 8.9 times 10 to the 7th. And I'll put the rest up here as you get started with that one. Okay, so we're running out of time, so let's get through these. So our first one up here, we're adding, so we have to have the same name. We do, we have 10 to the 7th. 2.6 plus 8.9 is 11.5 times 10 to the 7th. We have to adjust this. We have 2 decimal places in front of the decimal, or 2 digits in front of the decimal, so I have to move it to make it 1.15. The number became smaller by 1 place value, so our power of 10 has to get larger by 1. 7 plus 1 is 8, so that's 1.15 times 10 to the 8th. Over here, we are subtracting. 7, we do have the same power of 10. We have to have the same name when we subtract. So we can subtract the count. 7.64 minus 6.93 is 0.71. And we keep the same name, times 10 to the negative 9th. Now again, there's an issue, because there's no non-zero digit in front of the decimal. So we move that decimal to make that 7.1. Now the number got larger, the power has to get smaller. So negative 9 minus 1 is a negative 10. So 7.1 times 10 to the negative 10. 36, multiplying. We don't need the same name. We're going to combine the counts. 5.3 times 7.2. Oops, try the right numbers. 5.3 times 7.2. 38.16. Then we also combine the names. Now remember, when we multiply, we add powers. 10 to the 9th times 10 to the negative 4th. 9 plus negative 4 is 10 to the 5th. Now we have to move that decimal point because there's 2 digits in front of it. That becomes 3.816. Number got smaller, power gets larger. Times 10 to the 6th. Number 37, we're dividing. We don't need the same names, so it doesn't matter that there's different powers of 10. We'll do 6.76 divided by 5.2 is 1.3. And we also divide the names. 10 to the 8th divided by 10 to the negative 7th. Remember, we're subtracting powers. 8 minus a negative 7 is just 8 plus a positive 7. That's 10 to the 15th. That one already has just 1 digit in front, so we don't need to move the decimal point. What we didn't get to today was adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing our measurements, but we just did that in the last few classes, so I'm relatively comfortable there. Remember, Tuesday of next week is the test for Unit 3, Test 3. It will be open all day Tuesday. In fact, I'll probably have it out there Monday for you so that you can start working on it. Has to be done sometime during the day on Tuesday. So make sure you plan that out. I will be in the classroom Tuesday morning, so that if you have any questions, you can stop in and ask me. Otherwise, there won't be any lecture or new assignment Tuesday. So if you do the test and you cruise through it and you're okay, there's no need to come to class. Like I said, I will just be sitting here to answer any questions as they come up. Anybody have any questions for today? Okay, so today there is no homework.
I do.
Oops, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Todd. On number 35, I keep getting 1.34 times 10 to the negative 9th.
Oh, did I subtract something wrong there? So 7.6.
That's what I keep.
Minus 6.93. 8.71 times 10 to the negative 9th.
I don't know what's, because I put it into my calculator and that's what I keep coming up with.
Are you trying to put it in a scientific notation?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's probably where I'm going wrong.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay, so as I said, there's no new homework today. So you get the weekend off to study for the test and be prepared for Tuesday. Like I said, I'll have the test out there at the latest sometime Monday, so you can start it on Monday if you would like. With that, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.